3 years ago, my girlfriend of 5 years, let's call her Emma, broke up with me seemingly out of nowhere. We had met in college, moved in together after graduation, and were discussing marriage. At least I thought we were. One night after work, I came home to find her sitting on our couch with packed bags and tears in her eyes. "I can't do this anymore, Jake," she said. "I love you, but I'm not in love with you." Classic line, right? I was blindsided. We hadn't been fighting. Sure, things weren't as exciting as when we first met, but what relationship is after 5 years? I thought we were stable, happy, building towards something. When I pressed her for more, she talked about feeling stagnant and needing to find herself. She had accepted a job across the country in San Francisco, a job she had applied for without telling me. She had signed a lease on an apartment, all behind my back while I was planning to propose on our upcoming vacation. "I need to do this for me," she said. "Maybe someday you'll understand." I begged. I pleaded. I offered to do long distance. I even offered to move with her. But her mind was made up. She left the next morning for California, and just like that, the future I had been planning disintegrated. The first year was hell. I barely functioned. I drank too much, slept too little, and ignored concerned calls from friends and family. I had to move out of our apartment because I couldn't afford it alone, and every corner held memories of her anyway. I started therapy, which helped me realize I had made Emma my entire world, neglecting friendships and my own interests along the way. By year 2, I was doing better. I got promoted at work, started rock climbing again, something I'd given up because Emma wasn't interested, and rekindled old friendships. I went on a few dates, nothing serious, but enough to remind me I wasn't completely unlovable. By the 3rd year, this year, I felt like myself again. Actually, a better version of myself. More independent, more confident. I bought a small condo, adopted a dog, started dating Sarah, who's amazing and understands the importance of maintaining individual identities even in a relationship. Then, last week, I got the text. "Jake, it's Emma. I'm back in town. Can we meet? I really need to talk to you." I showed Sarah the text. She squeezed my hand and said it was up to me, but her eyes gave away her concern. After 3 days of internal debate, curiosity won out, and I agreed to meet Emma for coffee. She looked the same, yet different. More polished, maybe. California style. But her eyes were the same deep brown I used to get lost in. "I made a mistake," she said without preamble. "The biggest mistake of my life." I sat there stunned as Emma continued. She told me how her dream job in San Francisco had turned into a nightmare of 80-hour weeks and toxic office politics. How the friends she'd made there were shallow. How the dating scene had been disastrous. A parade of tech bros who treated relationships like startups they could exit whenever a better opportunity came along. "I realized that everything I was looking for was what I already had with you," she said, tears welling up. "I threw away something real for some fantasy of what my life could be." I sipped my coffee, trying to process. Part of me felt vindicated. She had realized what she'd lost. But another part felt angry that she assumed she could just walk back into my life after the devastation she'd caused. "I'm seeing someone," I finally said. "Her name is Sarah." Emma's face fell, but she quickly composed herself. "Is it serious?" "We've been together 8 months," I replied, deliberately not answering her actual question. "Do you love her?" "I care about her a lot. But do you love her like you loved me?" The question annoyed me. "That's not fair, Emma. We were together for 5 years. Sarah and I are building something different. Something healthy." Emma reached across the table and took my hand before I could pull away. "Jake, I know I have no right to ask anything of you, but I also know that what we had doesn't come along twice in a lifetime. I've grown up. I've learned what matters. And it's you. It's always been you." I extracted my hand and stood up. "I need time to think. This is a lot." "Of course," she said. "Take all the time you need. I'm not going anywhere this time." That night, I told Sarah about the meeting. She listened quietly, then asked, "Do you still have feelings for her?" "I don't know," I answered honestly. "I thought I was over her, but seeing her again, it's complicated." Sarah nodded slowly. "I think you need to figure this out before we go any further." "Are you breaking up with me?" I asked, panic rising in my chest. "No," she said, "but I'm giving you space to decide what you want. I won't be your second choice or your safety net, Jake." The next week was torture. I couldn't concentrate at work. I took my dog on long walks, hoping physical exhaustion would clear my head. I called my therapist for an emergency session. "What does Emma represent to you?" my therapist asked. "Is it really her you miss, or the idea of what you had?" I couldn't answer. The truth was, Emma had been my entire world for 5 years. She knew all my stories, my fears, my dreams. With Sarah, I was still in the process of sharing those things. There was history with Emma that couldn't be replicated. But there was also pain. So much pain. Emma texted daily, nothing pushy, just checking in. "Thinking of you. Hope you're having a good day." Remember that time we got caught in the rainstorm at the beach? Each message was like a hook, pulling me back into our shared past. Sarah, meanwhile, gave me the space she promised, which somehow made me miss her more than I expected. After 2 weeks of emotional purgatory, Emma invited me to dinner at our old favorite restaurant. Against my better judgment, I accepted. She looked beautiful, dressed in the green dress I had always loved. She'd made reservations at our old table, ordered the wine we used to share on special occasions. "I have something to tell you," she said as the waiter poured our wine. "I didn't just come back because San Francisco didn't work out. I came back specifically for you. How did you even know I was still here? That I wasn't married or moved away?" She looked down at her plate. "I kept tabs on you through mutual friends. Through your social media." "That's a little stalkerish," I said, but couldn't help smiling. "Call it what you want," she replied. But I needed to know if there was still a chance for us. As dinner progressed, I felt myself slipping back into old patterns. The way she laughed at my jokes. The familiar way she touched my arm when making a point. It was comfortable. Known. When she invited me back to her place, I hesitated only briefly before agreeing. Standing in Emma's new apartment felt surreal. It was like stepping into an alternate timeline, one where she had never left. She'd even brought some of our old photos and mementos from storage, displayed carefully on her bookshelf. "You kept all this stuff?" I asked, picking up a framed photo of us from a camping trip 5 years ago. "Of course I did," she said softly. "I never stopped loving you, Jake. Even when I convinced myself I needed something else." She stepped closer, her familiar perfume washing over me. For a moment, I was transported back to happier times. Lazy Sunday mornings tangled in sheets, holiday dinners with our families, inside jokes that no one else understood. But then Sarah's face flashed in my mind. Sarah, who had been nothing but supportive and understanding. Sarah, who challenged me in ways Emma never had. Sarah, who had picked up the pieces of me that Emma had shattered. "I can't do this," I said, stepping back. "I'm sorry, Emma." Her face fell. "Is it because of her? Because of Sarah?" "Partly," I admitted. "But it's more than that. When you left, it broke me. But eventually, I had to rebuild myself. And the person I am now, he's stronger. He knows what he wants." "And what do you want?" she whispered. I took a deep breath. "I want someone who chooses me even when it's hard. Who doesn't run away when things get comfortable or routine. Who sees that real love isn't about grand gestures or constant excitement. It's about choosing each other, day after day." Emma wiped away tears. "I made one mistake, Jake. One terrible mistake. Are you really going to throw away another chance at what we had because of it?" "It wasn't just a mistake, Emma. It was a choice. You chose yourself over us. And that was your right. But actions have consequences." "So this is punishment?" she asked, voice cracking. "No," I said gently. "It's growth. We're different people now. I've changed. You've changed. And I don't think we fit together anymore." The ride home was quiet. I felt a confusing mix of emotions, grief for what might have been, but also a strange sense of peace. When I walked into my condo, my dog greeted me with his usual enthusiasm. I sat on the floor, letting him lick my face, and then I called Sarah. "Can I come over?" I asked. 20 minutes later, I was at her door. She let me in without a word, her expression guarded. "I chose," I said simply. "I choose you. If you'll still have me." Relief washed over her face, followed quickly by caution. "Are you sure? I don't want to be the rebound or the consolation prize." "You're neither," I assured her. Being with Emma again made me realize how much I've changed, how much we've both changed. What we had belonged to a different time, a different version of myself. But what I have with you is real, present, and what I want. Sarah studied my face. What if she had never left? Would you still be with her? Probably, I admitted. But she did leave. And that changed everything. I like who I've become without her. I like who I am with you. Sarah pulled me into a hug. No more meetings with the ex. No more meetings, I promised. The next day, I texted Emma. "I'm sorry, but I need to move forward with my life. I wish you all the best, truly. I hope you find what you're looking for." Her reply came hours later. "I understand. I'll always love you, Jake. Be happy." It's been 2 months since then. Emma moved back to San Francisco last week. Sarah moved in with me last weekend. My dog adores her. Sometimes I still think about Emma and what might have been. I won't lie and say there isn't a small part of me that will always love her. First loves leave permanent marks. But I've learned that loving someone doesn't always mean they're right for you. 3 years ago, I thought my world had ended when Emma left. Now I understand it was just beginning. Sometimes the most painful endings lead to the most beautiful beginnings. And sometimes, the best decision is to let the past remain in the past.